July Manil, Professor of Social Work, Academy of Prisons.
Sanmugasundaram, DAG Prisons, Tamil Nadu.
Good morning everyone. I am Dr. Anita, Chief Superintendent Central Jail, Kalburgi, Karnataka.
Good morning. Divya Shri Kesi, DIG Prison South Range, Karnataka.
Good morning. I am Cecilia and I am the founder director of the Justice Initiative Foundation, a not-for-profit working in the central prisons in Karnataka.
Dr. Madan Raj from APCA Vellore.
Good morning, I am Venkat Reddy, Superintendent District Jail Chittoor, Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning, sir. I am K. Rajaswara, Superintendent Central Prison Kadapa from Andhra Pradesh. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Nigla Nagendran, Superintendent of Prisons, Special Prison for Women, Chennai.
Good morning. I am Jay Suraja, working for the prisoners for the last 31 years, NGO called Prison Ministry India.
Mr. Sampath, till then Maya and Dr. Raghavan, you can also introduce yourselves.
Good morning. My name is Maya Daru, boss, so to speak. And a very happy pupil am I. So, welcome to all of you, especially all of you who have had to travel through all the confusion of which we are the victims at the moment.
Yes, Dr. Raghavan.
Sorry, I could not be here in person. Maya has a way of embarrassing me all the time. So please don't take her seriously.
Of APCA to give a few words of to welcome us and then light the lamp.
Respected Sri Dayananda B. IPS Sir, Additional Director General of Police, Director General Prisons and Correctional Services, Karnataka, and Chairperson, APCA, Dr. Mahesh Dayal IPS Sir, DG Prisons and Correctional Services, Tamil Nadu, and member, Board of Management, APCA, sir is set to join, and Mrs. Maya Darwala, Convener and Chief Editor, India Justice Report, Mrs. Madhurima, the women behind the wonderful consultation, Dr. Vijay Raghavan and Dr. Murali Karan, member of the IJR team, and the distinguished team from the India Justice Report, all other dignitaries, distinguished speakers, esteemed prison administrators, and all gathered here today. It is my honor and privilege to warmly welcome you all to the regional consultation on prison overcrowding, innovating solutions with the prison administrators, jointly organized by the India Justice Report and the Academy of Prisons and Correctional Administration, Vellore. On behalf of ACPA, I extend a special and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed chairperson, Sri Dayananda B. IPS Sir, for graciously accepting our invitation to inaugurate the consultation and to enrich us with the Sir's expertise on the theme of the program. My warm welcome.
Thank you. Sorry for not being there physically. Mainly, as you know, the disruptions caused by this in the aviation sector in the last 2-3 days. Though I tried to book a flight and come, but the Indigo flight got cancelled. And also, even if I come there, returning again would depend on the flight schedules. Therefore, I have not taken that risk. So, but it is good that the program is going on even without my presence. And also, many people have been able to join the conference. I was a little skeptical whether actually the participants will be able to come there in view of the present circumstances. But in any case, the conference is going on and it's very good. Please continue, brother.
My warm welcome to all the senior officers from the prisons, police, judiciary, academia, and civil society who have joined us. Your presence augments the platform and emphasize our shared commitment to strengthening correctional systems across the region. Prison overcrowding remains one of the most persistent and challenging issues facing prison administrators today. It affects every aspect of prison functioning, reducing a living space, straining sanitation and health services, increasing staff workload, and heightening the risk of violence and unrest. Overcrowding also limits meaningful rehabilitation, vocational training, and reintegration efforts, ultimately weakening the correctional purpose of imprisonment itself. Managing overcrowding requires a balanced and coordinated approach. This includes a timely case processing, efficient under-trial management, expansion of alternatives to incarceration, strengthened legal aid, improved classification and separation of prisoners, and the use of parole, furlough, and remission systems wherever appropriate. Infrastructure improvement, interstate transfers, and community-based reintegration initiatives also play a vital role in easing institutional pressure. This consultation provides us with a significant opportunity to reflect on these challenges, learn from successful practices across states, and collectively chart strategies that are practical, sustainable, and humane. I am confident that the insights shared over the next 2 days will help us strengthen our operational responses and policy frameworks in addressing overcrowding. Once again, I warmly welcome all participants and express my sincere appreciation to the India Justice Report for partnering with APCA in organizing this program. I look forward to productive discussions and meaningful outcomes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I now invite Maya ma'am to welcome us all. Maya ma'am, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I must ask whether you can hear me very clearly or not. Otherwise, as usual,
yes, we can.
I will be sitting at my computer and talking to myself. So, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, all right. So, good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you, especially those who have had to travel and make such an effort and so much strain and tension just to get from one place to another. So thank you very much for being here. First of all, on behalf of the India Justice Report, I must begin by thanking the Academy of Prisons and Correctional Administration at Vellore for partnering with us to host this regional consultation on prison overcrowding, but not only overcrowding, I say, innovating solutions for prison administrators. We are very grateful for the director and faculty of APCA who for several months have been talking to us and opening their doors, and to the senior people, directors general, additional DGs, IGs, and senior officers from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Puducherry, and Tamil Nadu who have taken time out at least to consult with us and try to be with us despite their very demanding schedules. Really, we are most grateful for them. The other people who I must mention is the civil society people, very few of them who we have invited, who are working along with others, a larger network of people, sustainably offering their research, advocacy, willingness to help prison administration and prisoners to make things better. So this was always meant to be a very small closed-door meeting of senior officers and civil society, especially, as I said, those who have had to travel so far. And I must thank Indigo for having helped us to keep it this way. So, let me say, across India, prison overcrowding has become one of the most pressing and challenging problems, not only for the whole judicial system, but for prison administrators who have so many roles to play. First and foremost, the culture suggests that that prison administrators must look after security. At the same time, the slow move towards legislative move towards rehabilitation, etc., indicate that we must provide, prison administrators must help to provide legal representation, a second chance to people, vocational training, and also balanced budgets and very small budgets sometimes, and also make sure that illness and death do not dog prisons. Of course, one of the things that we know immediately is 2/3 of the prison population, sometimes 3/4 of the prison population, is made up of under trials. And for that, there is another set of people who are primarily responsible. Nevertheless, we wanted to have a meeting of prison officers so that solutions which are often far away from prison administration would have the benefit of the knowledge, the experience, and the difficulties and challenges and the innovative solutions that prison officers themselves, who have to work close to the bone, down at the ground, will be able to offer to these faraway administrators, faraway authorities, faraway policymakers, and would also have the benefit of civil society. And I hope that because this is a closed consultation, you will be extremely candid when we are putting together the final documents for this. We will be respectful of the confidentiality with which you have used this moment. I would like to say that we have deliberately focused on the southern regions because in the all India picture, several of the states are better off. Now, they are not better off because the better off came out of thin air. They are better off because of sustained solutions and a coordination between police, prisons, legal aid, judiciary to make things better. While the overcrowding over the country is around, averages around 130% overcrowding over what should be the actual accommodation, so lots of the southern states do better. Now they do better because someone has sustainedly thought about all this to make it better. At the same time, there are difficult pockets which are consistently overcrowded. This pertains to some of the sub-jails, this pertains to some of the regions, this pertains to some of the larger central prisons. So now, since we have been tracking this for a long time, and we look at human resources, infrastructure, budgets, and outcome indicators, I would invite you all to look at the frame of the IJR, which has to do with capacity and finding solutions and looking for innovative solutions which we can then showcase that have come from you, which could then become all India practice and create a pathway to making things better. In the next 2 days, we hope to map out the problem, but let us not spend 2/3 of the conference talking about only problems, but talk much more about the pathways to successful or better prisons altogether, so that internationally we can say that what was 5 years ago is no longer there now. What are the operational innovations that have worked, and what is blocking the scale up? Your commitment and ours is taken for granted. And that is why we are in the room. And I look forward to working very closely with you even after the conference, and look forward to more and more collaborations, conversations, especially with people like and Dr. Murli Karnam and Sister Cecilia and all of us, and forgive me if I have not mentioned your names, all of us who so much want to assist not only the prisoners who suffer through all this, but the prison administration who are often not recognized for the kind of good that they do. Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now request Pradeep sir to please light the lamp.
A very good morning to all of you, all those who are physically present in the conference, and also those who have joined virtually for this important consultation that needs to be undertaken. In fact, as has already been told by in the beginning, this is the element in the room which we need to address. And overcrowding of prisons many times has been normalized in the sense that what can be done? Our prisons are the way they are. And as the data indicates, in India, the overcrowding percentage is about 130%. But another aspect to this is that even the existing prisons, they cannot hold the prisoners to their capacity. Forget about overcrowding. First of all, we are holding the number of persons is more than what they can hold. But at the same time, the prisons, the way they are now, cannot hold the number of people which they are authorized to hold. Many places, or rather most of the places, either they are old, dilapidated, and a lot of infrastructure insufficiencies are there, because of which they cannot hold the authorized strength itself. So this accentuates the problem, and as has already been indicated, or many of you are aware, the problems of overcrowding, how it affects the prisoners, their mental and physical health, how it strains the resources, how it affects our criminal justice system or the judicial system itself, and above all this will in a way affect the public safety or the societal security. But probably in this conference, what is required to do is to, because many times even the solutions are also known academically, or even whatever the civil society speaks of, the solutions are known what needs to be done. But many times these things do take time. These things do take a lot of convincing of the governments, do take a lot of resources at our command, which we may or may not have at all the times. But probably the consultation or the conference should focus on the practical aspects, how we can at our own level deal with this overcrowding, how to minimize its impact or effect on the not only on the prisoners but also on the prison staff, because ultimately in one way or the other it impacts the prison staff also. It impacts their physical and mental capacities. It impacts their efficiency. It impacts their resting hours. So many things. So we have to find some physical, practical solutions to this issue, so that in the day-to-day administration of prisons, we can have a balance of this issue, and also ensure that we do not have much of the problems or the impact what it is going to have. Uh, there are so many things which the present administrators can do in their day-to-day activities to, first of all, to identify uh, uh, what is the present overcrowding they are having, how we can balance it out in consultation with their seniors, and also in consultation with the staff and which is working under them. There are certain legal provisions also which have been listed out in the recent BNSS, where community service has been included, then plea bargaining has been
Working
included.
perfectly.
So these are some of the things which
Can't
our
hear,
prison
that's unique.
administrators can make use of, and
Not
at
the
the same
phone.
time, even the bail provision also has been relaxed. It's our duty to ensure that whoever is entitled for bail after serving certain minimum period, he does get the legal service which he is entitled, and to a large extent he can be uh, let out, so that the pressure on the prison's administration is reduced. And at the same time, even the technology also can be used in a large way to ensure that overcrowding doesn't happen. The summons and warrant system, so many other things which practically the prison department, along with the police department and also the prosecution department, can work together to ensure that the overcrowding is addressed on a daily basis, and we need not wait till all the aspects of overcrowding are addressed, and we do get an ideal situation, which may or may not happen in the short term. And at the same time, there is also a need for engagement with civil society. India Justice Report, to that extent, can help us in building this kind of, because we need to have voice. Unfortunately, what happens in the prison department is that we lack that voice, mainly because we deal with the criminals, we deal with the uh, uh, people who are facing the legal battle, and because of which many times the voice of the prison department or the voice from within the prison is generally not heard by the powers that be. Therefore, the civil society can also come to our help and give us the voice, so that we are in a position to convince the governments and ensure that better facilities are provided inside the prisons, better infrastructure is provided, and at the same time, more legal reforms are undertaken, so that this aspect is addressed. And another aspect which accentuates the problem of overcrowding is that of staff shortage. There are two aspects to it. Number one, the existing staff itself, whatever is the sanction strength, the actual strength is way below. Like in Karnataka, we have a vacancy of nearly about 30 to 40%. That's first aspect. And second aspect is because of this overcrowding, again, we do need more staff, more resources at our command, which is not there. Then there are a lot of guidelines from the Supreme Court, Human Rights Commissions, and also the Government of India guidelines are there, which indicates how many prison staff is required to man the number of prisoners. So that if we take that scale, then our staff, whatever we have, is awfully inadequate. So we need to address that also. The recruitment and other things have to be undertaken on a fast track, and training is imparted to them, and they are available to us as quickly as possible. The training also in the prison department, what I have seen is that needs to be much more robust, and it should make them capable of handling the day-to-day issues what they face, because generally we do see the prison staff, because the nature of duties which they undertake, it makes them a little I don't say demoralized, but it impacts them negatively in one way or the other, and because of which their self-confidence, their morale and motivation generally is less compared to the other departments. This aspect also needs to be addressed. They need to be provided more rest, more recoup, and their mental health also needs to be kept in mind, because what if they are not mentally capable of handling the situations, it also impacts the prisoners in many ways, and once it impacts the prisoners, then it leads to more recidivism, and when they come out, probably they will again go back to their old ways, and it impacts the general safety and security of the people, and safety and security of the nation. So it is a very complex and a very difficult task ahead. And I'm sure the two-day conference, which has been conducted by the India Justice Report in collaboration with APCA Vellore, will look into all these aspects. They will discuss them. I'm seeing the schedule of the two-day consultation. There are a lot of technical sessions wherein they are discussing many of the issues which affect the overcrowding of prisons, and many of the prison officials are also on the panel of these discussions. I'm sure that they will discuss this issue threadbare, come out with the useful and practical recommendations which can help the prison department and also the governments to tackle this issue. And maybe in the days to come, two things we should have. Number one, the issue of overcrowding is addressed so that it's not there. And second thing is, whatever prisoners are there, they are looked after properly, and their rehabilitation, reformation process, which is the main focus of our prison administration, that is taken care of, and the society in general gets the benefit of proper prison administration. I thank the India Justice Report for coming forward to hold this important consultation, and I'm told that many more such regional consultations will take place across the country. They have taken the southern India first, and then even it will be taken to other parts of the country, and a general consensus emergence with regard to what needs to be done to tackle this issue of overcrowding. I don't want to take much time, and because you're all experts in the field, I may be a novice compared to the others. So do discuss this issue in detail and come out with proper recommendations which we can place it before the governments or place it before the judiciary, and ensure that some action is taken. Thank you very much for inviting me to this today conference. Again, I'm sorry for not being there physically because of the prevailing circumstances, but definitely in the days to come, probably in some other conference, we will be meeting physically, and we will be taking this issue forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I now invite Madhurima ma'am to please start setting the context and beginning the consultation.
Now, as a consultant with the IJR.
Can we have a quick round of introductions who all have come?
Yes,
and
sir.
from where?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, I am Murali Karnam. I'm from Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad. I work as a professor of human rights. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Sanmuga Sundaram, DIGI Prisons, Tamil Nadu.
Good morning, sir. I am Anita, as Chief Superintendent Central Jail, Kalburgi.
Good morning, sir. Divyashri, DIG Southern Range, sir.
Good morning. I'm Cecilia, the founder director of the Justice Initiative Foundation, working in central prisons in Karnataka.
Morning, sir. My name is Sri Hari. I'm with India Justice Report.
Good morning, sir. I am Jay Suraja, working with the Prison Ministry India last 31 years.
Good morning, sir. I am Nigila Nagendran, Superintendent, Special Prison for Women, Chennai.
Good morning, sir. I am K. Rajeswara, Superintendent, Central Prison, Kadapa, from Andhra Pradesh, sir.
Good morning, sir. I am K. Venkat Reddy, Superintendent District Jail Chittoor from Andhra Pradesh, sir.
Good morning, sir. I am Professor Madanraj from APCA Vellore.
Good morning, sir. I am Nayanika Singhal. I work as a senior researcher with the India Justice Report.
Good morning, sir. I am B. Pradeep, Director APCA.
Good morning, sir. This is Dr. Bula Emanuel, Professor of Social Work from APCA Vellore.
And good morning, myself. I am Madhurima Dhanuka. I work as a consultant with the India Justice Report. And earlier I was working with the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, and I was heading their prison reforms program.
Thank you.
Yes, may I request people who are there who have joined us online to also introduce themselves?
Yeah, good morning, sir. I am Vijay Raghavan, professor in the Center for Criminology and Justice, School of at Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I also co-lead a project working on prison reforms in Maharashtra and Gujarat.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am Maya Daruwala. I am the convener of the collective that brings out the India Justice Report, and I'm also the chief editor. And I've also been working in this area of police, prisons, legal aid, judiciary, reform for the last few years.
Thank you,
head of CHRI.
If few means 50
Thank you for
years,
your
then that is the definition of few for Maya. Well, sir, may we proceed?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, as I was saying, so I have been part of the India Justice Report as part of CHRI since its very inception. And from the very beginning, we have always reported on prison overcrowding as one of the main concerns that seem to be plaguing our prison system, and which is also a reason why we are not able to progress, or it consistently seems to be something that we always come across whenever we talk about prison reforms, is prison overcrowding. So as the India Justice Report, this year we thought let's come together, have everybody in a room and do a little bit of brainstorming on what works and what doesn't work. Now, this year's India Justice Report, the prison rankings and the prison data, when we looked at it, we felt that the southern states seem to be doing something better, which is why their overcrowding, the average overcrowding rates are not as much. Even the individual prisons which are overcrowded, and we'll see it when Nayanika presents later on, we don't seem to have that much of a problem here as much as we find it in the northern states. So we thought we'll come down south. We collaborated with APCA and we came together to do this consultation today, is to do two things. One is, while not a lot of prisons are overcrowded, but prisons can be overcrowded. And as prison administrators, all of you are the ones who have to deal with it on a daily basis. So as researchers, we can talk about it. As academicians, we can teach about it. But the actual people who are dealing with this on the ground level are all of you. And there's really much documentation of what those problems are. So what challenges is posed when you have an overcrowded prison? You have to manage an overcrowded prison. We want to document that. That's one. The second, as Maya said, we are not going to stop at a problem. We are going to look at a solution. So at the end of this 1.5 days, we will be coming together to put together 4 actionable, practical, implementable strategies on how prison administration can effectively address prison overcrowding. So not reduce, because reduction is not in our hand, but address the issue of prison overcrowding. So overcoming your operational challenges, overcoming issues that are liaising with the courts, etc., for the admissions and releases of them. And then looking at other things like parole, premature release, looking at recidivism. We will be looking at different aspects, which all of you will brainstorm and come together. So you would have seen in the agenda, at the second last session before our closing, is a brainstorming. The brainstorming will be to come up with these 4 actionable strategies, which eventually we are hoping that in the national consultation we will plan in April next year. We will be putting those together into a 10-point plan. So the 4 strategies I'm looking at are from the prison administrators. 4 strategies I'll be looking at from a consultation with legal services authorities, and then 2 from the civil society. So that's how we'll come to our 10. So the first thing is the 4, which is us. It is our work today to come out with these 4 actionable. We have to think, we have to brainstorm, we have to figure out, we know there are challenges, yes, but how do you overcome that challenge? There's a hindrance. What is the solution to that hindrance? We will all come together. So it is my humble request that everybody be as candid and as open as possible. You are the ones who deal with this on the ground. You have way more understanding on the practical realities, the practical challenges that are there, and we can brainstorm, and I think collectively we could come together to find a problem so that maybe 5 years down the line, we wouldn't be really struggling with prison overcrowding as the main issue. We'll probably be discussing, we are not doing rehabilitation as much, but we're not looking at, we don't have space anymore. So that's where we come from today. So on that note, we are now going to move in directly to the panel discussion, the high-level discussion, and I am going to invite, so I'm moderating this. I'm going to first invite Anayanika to provide us with the data, which kind of is reflective of the issue of overcrowding that we are facing with today's time. Yes, and sir, Dayanand sir, may I request you to kindly chair the session, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So over to you, Nayanika.
Thank you all for being here today. Good morning. I am Nayanika Singhal. I work as a senior researcher with the India Justice Report. As Maya has already said, my first few slides are going to be introducing the India Justice Report a little bit more, what we do, what we assess. We are basically a collective of 6 organizations working in the field of legal aid, prisons, police, and the judiciary. These organizations are Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, Common Cause, Center for Social Justice, Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, as well as Daksh, and Vidhi Prayas. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So what do we do? So the India Justice Report is basically a report that assesses capacity, or basically how well states are equipped to deliver justice to everyone. We assess 4 pillars of the criminal justice system, as you can see on this slide, which are the police, prisons, judiciary, legal aid. In the last 2 reports, we've also introduced an assessment of the state human rights commissions. Very briefly, I know that we are all experts here on prisons, but I just wanted to discuss how we gather data and we assess states. Essentially, we, as I was saying, that we assess states on their capacity to deliver justice. We assess the states on these 6 themes, which are budgets, human resources, infrastructure, workload, diversity, and trends. Trends is basically the intention of a state. We measure whether they've improved over the years or not. We only use government data to assess the states and rank the states according to their performance. It's not a judgment, it's not a judgment on the states. It is basically what the data states and how the data measures. So for the overall ranking, you can see the first 5 states are all the southern states, which is very good news. Right. Now, moving on, if we were to just look at the prison ranking as well, you can see over the 4 reports over the years, what the performance of the states have been. This year, we've just released the report in 2025, and you can see that Tamil Nadu has come first, Karnataka second, Kerala third, Andhra Pradesh fourth, and Telangana 7th in the prisons pillar. Moving on to the prisons data, we really wanted to understand what prison populations look like, and we measure capacity against the inmate population or prisoner population, And as you can see over here, nationally, or from 2014 till 2023, and this is all data based on Prison Statistics India, the blue line, which is the capacity of the prisons in the country, has not really kept pace with the red line, which is the number of prisoners in the prison. Ideally, the red line should have actually been below the blue line. In most states, in several states, there are jails where this is so. But what averages do is that they hide what is happening on the ground in reality. As of 2023, in the 5 southern states, this is how the prison population and capacity look. For example, let's take Karnataka. The blue bar shows the capacity, which is around 14,000. And the red bar shows the prison population, which is 15,000. So it is a little bit overcrowded. In the state average shows a little bit of overcrowding. It's the same in Kerala as well. And the rest of the states show that the capacity is more than the number of prisoners inside, which is a very good thing. However, what I wanted to point out here was, as Madhurima was also saying, that today we know that there are jails that are not overcrowded, but tomorrow there could be jails that could become overcrowded, and we need to know how to address those issues. And we also need to understand how overcrowding affects the prison administration in general. And it has an adverse effect on prison administration, as we all know. I don't need to tell you that, you are all experts. So these are 5 examples from the 5 southern states. The red line is basically measuring occupancy rate, and the data is from the Prison Statistics India. I'm sorry that this is not clear, but if you could just follow the red line on the first box. This is from Kollam District Jail in Kerala. And it's measuring occupancy rates over 3 years, which are 2021, 2022, and 2023. And as you can see, in Kollam, in this district jail, in 2021 and 2022, the occupancy rate for this jail has been a little over 100%. But in 2023, it has jumped to around 320%, which is 3 times over capacity. Similarly, in Vishakhapatnam Central Jail, Andhra Pradesh, in these 3 years, it has remained over 150% occupancy. Same in Madurai Central Jail in Tamil Nadu, it has steadily increased from 140% to around 150% and now over 160%. The other core problem that affects prison administration adversely is the high vacancy and the shortages of staff, not just the prisoner, but also prison administration, as we all know. Our data is all since it's based on government data, we've looked at only 2023 Prison Statistics India. I don't know what it is this year. I'm sorry? Same as it is. Okay, great. That is not promising. But anyway, if you can see the formatting here is a little wonky, but Karnataka and Andhra in 2023 reported that there were no correctional staff sanctioned. Correctional staff, as we know, are good for rehabilitation, because that is what the aim of corrections is. Now, in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Kerala, both all these states show more than the correctional staff. If you have, for more information, correctional staff includes like social workers, psychologists, everybody. Yes, probation officers, correct, yeah. Yes, so for guarding staff, which deals with inmates and prisoners on a daily basis, in Andhra, Karnataka and Kerala, they show over 20% vacancies. Now, this is a state average again. I don't know what it is in individual jails. Psychologists and psychiatrists, which are very important. And as we all know, the Model Prison Manual says that there should be one psychologist for every 500 prisoners. But in Telangana, since 2017, only one has been sanctioned for the entire state. This is the condition of one psychologist, of like psychologists in general, is quite poor across the country, which is again something that needs to be corrected. And again in Telangana, there's about 80% vacancy among doctors, and in 2023, Karnataka reported no doctors. In your kits, you will all find details of jail-wise occupancy in all 5 states, which is above 150%. Yes, and and this time in the IJR, in this report of the India Justice Report, the report that is also a part of your kit, we've also calculated a few projections. And if we were to take, for example, the way prison population and capacity of prison has increased over the years, very conservatively, and only looking at just these 2 variables, because we've obviously not been able to calculate how many prisoners come in, how many go out on a daily basis. Very conservatively, if we were to project, we would see that the prison population and occupancy is going to increase over the years. So by 2030, the prison capacity, which is the first graph, is going to be around 5 lakhs, while the second graph, which shows the prisoner population, is going to increase to nearly 7 lakh, which is obviously going to have an enormous strain on prison administration and infrastructure. The other effect that is going to be felt, and what we also calculated, is if the shortages in staff are to go the way they are going, then the workload of a guarding staff or a warder or a jail staff will see a huge burden. They are already overburdened and overstretched, and this will only see a exponential increase in their workload. Again, this is a very conservative estimate, and we've only calculated it as per the data available on prison statistics. The reality on the ground, there are many factors that are at play when it comes to prison population and recruitment and all of that. But if we were to see just these variables, the overstretched prison cadre will actually will already have nearly twice the workload that they have now. Right. So in the following discussion that we all want to have, we want to focus on a few things, which are these 5 points in front of you. What are the existing solutions that already exist? What are the good practices in your states, in your jails that you have that you've implemented, that other jails in other states could implement? What practices have worked well? What has not worked? What remain the obstacles in your practice? And what could be changed immediately? I'm going to now hand over to Madhurima. Wait.
Thank you very much, Nayanika, for that presentation. And as it's been indicated, ultimately, we're going to have a shortfall of nearly 2 lakh spaces. So right now, I think we have 1,40,000 spaces are less. Like the deficit between the prisoner population and the capacity. And with the predictions, if it's going to rise, then it's going to be nearly 2 lakhs. And of course, who bears the brunt the most? The administrators, because they have to deal with it on a daily basis. Dayanan sir, would you like to come in with your comments now, or maybe after a few of them have spoken?
Yeah, just 2 things based on Nayanika's presentation. One is that even when we keep in mind the capacity of the existing prisons, many times we have to keep in mind that whatever is projected as the capacity may not be the actual capacity, because many of the prisons, as I had told earlier, also have become very old and dilapidated. Many have been built during the British times and those kind of things. And some parts of these prisons have become non-functional or not fit for human dwelling. So what our prison staff is doing is that they are shifting, they are keeping those barracks vacant, but they are putting the prisoners in the other barracks. So effectively what happens is that the overcrowding of the prisons increases to that extent, which may or may not be reflected in the figures when we take the averages and other things. It may get submerged in that one. But we have to keep in mind that many prisons are very old and dilapidated. In Karnataka, we have prisons which are built in 1862. In Tamil Nadu, I saw that Vellore prison is built 1832 or something like that. So these prisons are very, very old and dilapidated. So though the capacity, they say that it is this much, but it may not be the actual thing. The actual capacity may be less than that. That has to be kept in mind while working the statistics. And second thing is, in Nainita's presentation, she showed one graph which indicates that compared to 2022, the total prison strength has decreased. The actual prisoners has decreased. What has led to that decrease, we may have to understand. The capacity has not increased much, but at the same time, it indicates that compared to the earlier years, 23, there is a slight decrease in the total number of prisoners inside the prisons. So what led to that decrease? What are the reasons for that? Probably that may give us some insights how we can address this issue of overcrowding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think to add to the point about the dilapidated buildings, and this is also the fact that a lot of sub jails, so in the total number of prisons, they always list sub jails, but a lot of sub jails have very either zero capacity. So the total number of prisons is 1330 or something, but actually a lot of them are actually closed. So those numbers would be lesser and your prisoners are higher. So your actual overall occupancy is higher than what is being depicted right now. So that is also one of the concerns in talking about this. Now, I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Raghavan to come in and talk about some of the solutions that have been, put forward over the years, and, why they failed or they didn't work or they worked. What insights does he have from his long-standing experience of working on this? Over to you, Dr. Raghavan.
Thank you, Madhurima. I'm going to share screen. So let me just try this.
Yes. So you can stop presenting. You can share. And can you pin Dr. Raghavan, please?
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Now?
Yes.
So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the ideas from my experience point of view. I've also pulled out some of the important MHA advisories which have suggested some way forward in terms of what can be done to reduce prison overcrowding. There's a document that was shared by Madhurima and Nainika, and I went through that, and from there I have pulled out some of these. So I'll start with the MHA advisories and then go on to the field experience, if that's okay. So if you look at the MHA advisory of 2011 and 13, some of the highlights that I could pick out, which could be useful from the point of view of monitoring and assessing overcrowding issues and what could be done about it. One is that, there is a Bombay High Court guidelines that was issued in the Rajendra Bidkar versus State of Maharashtra and others case. In fact, Prayas was one of the members of the committee formed by the government court in this particular PIL. And on this issue of production of under trials through VC facility, this is perhaps the only order which lays down what should be the minimum guidelines that should be followed when producing somebody through video conferencing. It has provisions, for example, that a DLSA advocate should be present inside the prison when the VC facility is going on. This is to ensure that if a prisoner wants to say something or has some legal matter which he or she wants to highlight before the court, or wants to write an application for the magistrate or the judge, then that lawyer is available for this purpose. It also says that there should be intermittent physical production. Nobody should be produced continuously through video conferencing, and the guidelines specify that maybe after, I don't remember clearly, but if I'm right, after every 3 VC productions, there should be 1 physical production. It also says that if a prisoner insists that he needs to be produced physically for a particular reason, then that may be considered by the judge or the magistrate concerned, so that he or she can be produced physically. So it would be very interesting and I think important for prison officers to have a look at these guidelines that was issued by Bombay High Court in this particular case in 2004. This is mentioned in the MHA advisory of 2011. Then there is another point that I picked out, was that there should be a survey in the entire prison once in 6 months, or for all under trial prisoners, to identify cases who could become eligible in the earlier 436 and 436A CRPC, and now under 479 of BNSS. Another important suggestion made in these guidelines is to advisory is to encourage NGOs to do legal guidance work and to link their work with the DLSA. So basically what this guideline is saying is that there should be some kind of a link between the DLSA and the prison, and this kind of linking can be done with the help of NGOs. And I will refer to a good practice model in Maharashtra in the later part of my presentation, where precisely this kind of a thing is being done. It also talks about greater use of the Probation of Offenders Act. We all know how this particular law, which has great potential when it comes to reducing overcrowding of prisons, is being almost in disuse, not even underuse. Magistrates have largely forgotten the use of this law, and the government is culpable in terms of not appointing enough number of probation officers in all the districts. It has reached a point where there is 1 or 2 probation officers in every district, and in some states even that is not there. We recently organized a one-day consultation on the implementation of the Probation of Offenders Act, a national consultation, where we did it in collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission, and representatives had come from almost 20 states. And the sorry state of the implementation of the PO Act became very clear through that consultation. We are hoping to use the recommendations emerging from this consultation to be taken up by the NHRC and writing to all the states, asking them to look at this. As far as this particular law is concerned, the southern states are doing much better than the northern states, with the exception of Bihar, which also is doing a good job. But Karnataka, which used to be one of the states which used to implement it very well, today is in a sad state of affairs. So this is my request to the ADG prisons, though it doesn't come under his jurisdiction, it comes under the Department of Women and Child Welfare. But I'm quite sure that something can be done to look at the implementation of PO Act, particularly the appointment of probation officers across districts. Another suggestion that has come up through these advisories is the superintendent to do a survey of cases who have completed 1/4 of the maximum sentence and send that list to the DLSA. Could be done maybe every 3 months. Look at maximum sentence and see those who have completed at least 1/4 and send it to the DLSA. And now this has also become a matter of the law with the latest CRPC, the BNSS. They've also suggested to create an MIS system to track cases who could be eligible for release under the various categories that has been mentioned so far. Going on to further advisories, 2019, 24 and 25, one particular suggestion that I picked up is how e-prison software could be used to ensure that the NALSA SOP for identifying people who could be considered for release by the UTRC is one suggestion that has been made, and I think this suggestion has some potential because to my understanding, the main problem with identifying cases is not having proper robust database to identify who are those 14 categories. The NALSA SOP talks about 14 categories of people who could be considered for release, but however, most of the time UTRC meetings are limited to identifying people who have either completed maximum sentence or have completed half the sentence, which earlier, and those who have been granted bail but are continuing to remain inside. So mostly it is these three categories that the UTRC looks at, but the NALSA SOP talks about 14 categories. But the problem is with identifying prisoners who fit under those 14 categories. So if some tweaking can be done in the e-prison software, where these 14 categories automatically pop up in the prison software, so that it's easy for the prison department to identify such prisoners. It also talks about identifying prisoners who could be who have been arrested in compoundable cases, and if those cases can be taken to the jail court, and if some way can be found out either through the lok adalats or some other mechanism to be identified where such people can be released and the case can be dropped. Of course, now under the BNSS, it has become compulsory for the jail superintendent to identify cases who have completed the 1/3 sentence and are first-time offenders under 479 BNSS. It would be very interesting if some of the jail or prison officials present here could share what are the challenges they are facing in carrying out this task, which has been now vested on the superintendent of the prison. Another suggestion that has been made in the 2025 advisory is to carry out a one-time survey to identify all those prisoners who fit either under 479 or other categories as per Supreme Court directions. For example, the latest direction of the Supreme Court in the Satyendra Kumar Antil versus CBI case, where again it's saying that if people have been granted bail and they have not been released within 1 week, the superintendent should take immediate steps to inform the DLSA so that the DLSA can move applications to release those people either on personal bond or on reduction of bail amount. So these are some of the suggestions that have come up through the MHA advisories. Now, looking at some of the solutions or some of the innovative practices that I know about, particularly from Maharashtra, where our work has been more prominent. So I'm highlighting some of these suggestions, which maybe the group can look at either today or later on if they're interested. I am quite happy to share these experiences with the officers present here today. So first is there's an MOU that has been signed between the Azim University, which Professor Karnam will be able to talk about, whereby social workers and lawyers are appointed as teams to work in close collaboration with the prison authorities and the DLSA, and to try and see that people who don't have access to legal aid are given legal aid as fast as possible, and also people who have been granted bail but are continuing to remain inside should be immediately brought to the notice of the courts, and if steps are required, including reduction of the bail amount, changing the conditions of the bail, or to try and get those people released on personal bond. These are some of the practices that have been going on through this MOU since 2018. And in the last 6.5 years, almost 20,000 under trials were reached out to through the teams. There are two universities which are involved in this project. One is the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, through the category of people who are granted bail but not released on bail. Now, the new system of legal aid that has started, which is the appointment of LADCs, Legal Aid Defense Councils, across the country, that has to some extent improved the delivery of legal aid system in almost all the prisons where they are working. But there is one problem that the LADCs have been facing, which we came across in Mumbai particularly, and in some of the other districts where we work, that the kind of data that they are required to submit to the DLSA as per a format that has been developed for them, they don't have access to that kind of data, and the prison also is not easily able to maintain those kind of data in terms of categories of prisoners, in terms of who is eligible for bail and who is eligible under the various sections of 479, etc., etc. What the DLSA of Mumbai did, and I think it's a very good practice, they have appointed a PLV who is an educated person with some understanding of basic running Excel sheets, etc., and appointed him in the prison on a full-time basis as a PLV. And the prison, and they have given him a computer which has access to the jail records, and that PLV maintains all the data that is required to be filled up and which goes for inspection of various kinds. And this is to make sure that there is, because of staff shortage, the data filling problem does not get affected. So I think it's a very innovative solution where the PLV gets 750 rupees per day and works 4 to 5 days a week. And based on that, his work, apparently the system of data maintenance in Arthur Road Jail, where this person has been appointed, is going quite smoothly. So this could be looked at by the DLSA of whether they can appoint a PLV educated person and full-time placed in the prison for data maintenance purposes. The other suggestion I have, which is again coming from our experience, is currently jail courts are largely being used as plead guilty cases court, where people who are arrested in petty offenses and have completed 6 to 8 months or maybe 1 year of imprisonment, then some kind of negotiation takes place with the magistrate concerned, and the person is encouraged to plead guilty so that the matter can be disposed of. Now, this amounts to a travesty of justice, because then it means that people who are arrested in serious offenses go through a proper trial, and people who are arrested in petty offenses don't get the opportunity of a proper trial. So we have been trying to impress upon the court magistrates that instead of pushing them to plead guilty, it would be better to release them on bail, reduced bail amounts, or on personal bond. And that way, the person can come back on court dates and complete the trial instead of having to plead guilty. So that's another suggestion which can reduce the overcrowding situation in prisons. Though, of course, petty offenses cases are not too high, but it would still have some impact, at least 10 to 15% overcrowding we looked at through this provision. Another good practice that we have tried here in Maharashtra and the districts where we are working is appointing prison PLVs from the under trial prisoners. As per the NALSA guidelines, prison PLVs can only be appointed if they are convicted prisoners. But we have tried this and it has worked very well. For every barrack, at least two PLVs have been appointed from within the under trial population, though not official PLVs, because they don't have that PLV certification by the DLSA. But the DLSA has agreed that these could be considered as PLVs, and now we are exploring the idea whether they can also be paid the honorarium which PLVs are supposed to be paid with the DLSA. We have taken it up with the Maharashtra State Legal Services Authority, and they are quite open to the idea. So hopefully this might happen in the near future. So if PLVs are appointed from amongst the under trials, and there are many educated persons amongst the under trial prisoners who are quite to occupy their time constructively. In fact, many of them do legal guidance work on their own. They help other prisoners to write applications, interpret charge sheets for them, etc., etc. If they are given this position of PLVs, they are facilitating like a role, like acting like a bridge between the prison population and the DLSA. And the LADCs who come to the prison on weekly rounds, they are greatly helped with the presence of these PLVs. So I am suggesting this very strongly as a suggestion, whereby PLVs can be appointed from within the under trial population, and the training can be done by the DLSA, and they could work very effectively in bridging the gap as far as legal aid is concerned. Another important suggestion which has come through our experiences is appointing social workers in prisons. And this has happened in Maharashtra through an MOU between TISS and the Home Department. And social workers have been appointed in 5 central prisons. And their role has shown that there is a lot that can be done if social workers are appointed and their role is clear, not only counseling and limited to counseling and supporting families, but also looking at access to legal aid and helping them to get out on bail. Some of the challenges that I have been able to identify over the years, and these are very specific ones. One is, of course, what we have already talked about, staff shortage, which has come out very clearly from the IJR findings. But some of the other ones which may not have everybody noticed is, one is that there is a Supreme Court judgment in Sonadhar versus State of Chhattisgarh that as soon as the bail is passed, the court has to send a copy of the bail order to the jail superintendent so that jail superintendents are aware about people who have been granted bail. But this is not happening all the time. And this is one of the challenges that prison superintendents have often told us, that we don't even know who are the people who are granted bail. So how can we take action on the basis of people who have completed more than 7 days and immediately we have to bring it to the notice of the DLSA? So this is an issue that needs to be taken up, maybe with the High Court. The prison head of department can take it up with the High Court or the Malsa or the state SLSA chairperson to see how this can be done. Another issue that comes up always, especially in the district cases, is the video conferencing facility doesn't always work. There is power outage or connectivity problems. There are internet issues. And because of this, even though almost all prisons in every state are fully connected now between court and prison, but at the given time, it sometimes doesn't work. And this leads to people not being produced for long periods of time. And that could be an additive factor for overcrowding taking place. So physical production is not happening because of lack of police escorts. And the solution found to deal with it, which is video conferencing, is also not happening. There is reluctancy of the judiciary to release people on personal bond, despite UTRC recommendations. This is a very common problem. Then there are a number of challenges in the implementation of the support to poor business schemes, which was started in 2024 by the Government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs. And we can have a separate discussion on this because we have worked a lot on this issue and we have some good suggestions on how this can be improved in implementation. And our main suggestion is involve social workers, NGOs, or probation officers to ensure that the due diligence part is done as quickly as possible. Last part, coming to what can be done. One is, as I have already suggested, training of prison PLVs on a regular basis. We are doing it every 3 months, 2-day, 3-day training of prison PLVs so that they remain updated and their motivation levels continue to be strong. Second suggestion, associating with law schools and social work colleges to ensure that legal aid and social legal work is being done. Students can play a very important role if there is proper guidance from the part of prison authorities as well as from the part of the colleges or the schools from where they come from. I think there is a very strong need to develop a policy for partnership with NGOs. Currently, there is no policy as such. People approach depending on the attitude or the response of the prison head of department. They will either get permission or not get permission. I strongly suggest that there needs to be a policy in place of how will you allow an NGO to work in the prison. I was a member of the Prison Reforms Committee in Maharashtra called the Radhakrishnan Committee, Justice Radhakrishnan Committee, and we have worked out these guidelines of on what basis an NGO should be given permission to work inside prison. If anybody is interested, I can share those guidelines which are available as part of the report as an annexure. Next, my suggestion is to create a research wing in partnership with academia, and every prison department should have a research wing, and that wing can do very nuanced kind of researches. For example, this difference of overcrowding from one prison to the other. What are the reasons that in some prisons the overcrowding is high and in some prisons there is no overcrowding? There is a need to go into the details of this and try to come out with some answers. Also, why is it that some people continue to remain inside in prison despite bail being granted? What are some of the best practices that can be looked at through prison superintendents? Why some prisons, is it because of the initiative taken by the jail superintendent that overcrowding in some jails is less and in some jails is more? And of course, Tamil Nadu is the only state which has appointed social workers in prisons, psychologists and social workers. And I would request that the role of these social workers should be relooked and how it can be expanded. And I mean, we are quite willing and happy to work on this with the Tamil Nadu Prison Department to look at how the role of social workers can be expanded. I'll stop here. Thank you so much.
Dr. Raghavan, for that insightful and detailed presentation on some of the solutions, some of the innovations that are already in practice. Now we're going to move on to Ravi Paul sir. Sir is a lawyer in Chennai, and I will leave him to introduce himself and his work. He will be talking about a very important and less heard of initiative, which is around working to reduce recidivism in prison as a measure to ensure that not as many people go back to the prison, or the prisoner population does not increase.
Resourceful knowledge and lecture, but I want to add some points to this session, sir. Actually, you told that earlier DCS, they are appointed in Maharashtra, but in Andhra Pradesh, there is a PMS system, Prison Management Information System. DUOs are working on it, sir.
So say that again.
DUOs are working on it, and Prison Management Information System. It is linked in all the states of India, so you can get the information by a click. When the prisoner admitted, when the prisoner was having interviews, when the prisoner got the bail, when the prisoner was not submitted his, all the things are, sir.
Okay, so this is part of the Telangana prison software, is it?
Yes, sir. Okay. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, sir.
Okay.
Sir, every jail have that the system, sir. The central monitoring system, sir. As per the BNSS Act, both the criminal justice system, police, judiciary, and prisons are linked with this system, sir. They can get ICGS. They can get the information.
I know.
They can get the information. Any department can get the information, sir. And also here, prison superintendent with the interest of the prison superintendent to not only get the information, sir, because courts granting bail, but the information was not given to us, jail superintendents. Sir, when the prisoner got the bail, judicial authorities are not giving us the information.
Yeah.
And also the legal lawyers which were appointed by the DLSA, they are just coming and going, that's all. For weekly twice and weekly once they are coming and going. But they are not taking any interest on giving this aid to the prisoners.
Right. Sir, I have a question for you. Do you see there is an improvement in legal aid services after the LADCs have been appointed?
Very little, sir. Very little.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Appointed, but very little.
Because
sir.
in Maharashtra, we see a qualitative difference in the delivery of legal aid services after the LADCs have been appointed.
Over to you, Ravi sir. Sir can talk about, as I said, he will be talking about his work on recidivism and of course other work around prison overcrowding and the intervention by the court.
First, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to be present at this discussion. I was very keenly observing Mr. Raghavan's suggestions about NGO participation. And for the past 10 years, that's what I've been talking about. And I feel that it's an absolute essentiality if we are to move to the next level. Tamil Nadu has done well, and we are so thankful to the department for all the assistance it has been providing us. But at the same time, I think there has to be clarity as to what exactly is expected of NGOs, and that we are really not at the mercy of the authorities in everything that we do or we do not do. I think very often the work which is done is rarely appreciated also. So I think there is a need for participation as partners, and this is what I have been saying. Now, coming to myself, I'm a designated senior counsel of the Madras High Court, and I have been practicing on the civil side, so I am in some ways illiterate on the criminal justice system, but I have, through necessity in the last 10 years of working in the system, learnt a bit of it. But the area which we have been focusing upon is basically how to prevent petty offenders, particularly the young petty offenders, from re-offending and getting back into the system as habitual criminals. We did a lot of research before we started deciding on which area we should focus upon, and we felt that this was an area which was not at that time paid much attention to, and we felt that we could do something which would be of great benefit. And in some ways, your consultation relating to reducing the overcrowding, it has a bearing on that also. So I will just quickly, within the 5 minutes given to me, just explain some of the things that we have done, and would also suggest a few things which could probably be of use. The first thing is, I think, the focus when we look at incarceration in prison. All of us are equally aware of the extreme difficulties that are forced on a person by even a minimal amount of incarceration. The social breakdown, so many things, all of you know better than I do. But it's something which is very serious, and I think often not understood by the judiciary, who take it as a matter of routine, not understood by the police, who take it as part of statistics, and often not even understood by the prison department at times. I think there is a lot needs to be brought into the fray to tell people exactly how this incarceration, however, for a brief period, destroys people, and the possibility of reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegration, which the Supreme Court has also referred right through the years, right from Justice Krishna Iyer onwards, is really brought into focus. And I think a lot of work still needs to be done. I can see a lot of work, Mr. Raghavan was explaining, to see so many things that have been done. But I will just quickly, in the last few minutes given to me, I will just mention what we have done here in Tamil Nadu, and for which the credit must go to the department, which has been completely supportive of what we have been doing. When we talk about reducing recidivism, the first thing we need to look at is to have innovative programs, particularly psychological intervention programs, with which we had designed what was called as Pattam, which is in Tamil called as kite. And the idea was to encourage youngsters, young first-time petty offenders. We chose that group only because we felt that these were the group which were a huge percentage of the total under trial population, and this was the most vulnerable because prisons were virtually the recruitment places in many situations, and we felt that they need to be dealt with a psychological intervention with clarity, so that they come to understand that what has happened they need to get beyond, and to have clear steps and guidance as to what lies ahead. Life will never be the same again, but there are ways, like a kite is controlled by the string. If they are guided properly, they can still fly. And I think giving them hope, giving them understanding that the entire society is with them, and what has happened may be something which they may have done or may not have done, but still it is something which they need to put behind them and to move forward positively. That has been our focus, and our program has been, with the help of the Tamil Nadu Prisons Department, it has been now extended to all the prisons, central prisons in Tamil Nadu, and we have been working from 2018, and the recidivism rate is between 1 to 3%, and sometimes it has dipped below 1%. So it has been, I would say, very encouraging for us to see the results and to see, above all, the understanding within the prison walls, the need for these youngsters to be treated differently and not to be viewed as criminals who deserved what they got. Society itself looks at anybody behind the prison walls as a person who got what he deserves. But we know, after detailed study, that the number of people who are innocent are also very high. So treating everyone as a criminal is the first thing, that taboo which we must overcome. And we must be in a position to accept people as they are. So very often when we had the privilege of being able to train prison officials, and then we found that there was a lot of need for the other area, which brings in the people into the system, which is the police. So we have a program for the police where we train police officials right from the SI onwards up to the district deputy commissioners, basically to give them an understanding of what happens if a person is incarcerated. They take it very lightly and it becomes a routine manner. And so we brought the police officers into the prison and conducted all our training sessions inside the prison. And I think more than anything else, that was a huge eye-opener to many of them, who started empathizing and understanding that what was a routine exercise really had such wide ramifications and destroyed people. And I think that helped a lot. And the basic thing that we were working with the police was to make them understand that all you need to do is to follow the Supreme Court guidelines. Arnish Kumar is there. There are several other orders given in various places. Just follow them. And above all, where many of these judgments are not really utilized fully, above all, we told them that what they need to look at was these youngsters, whether they're like their own children. So they needed to view them as children. In that age group, you need to understand how an adolescent mind works and then deal with that person, not as a person who is a criminal, but as a person who sometimes because of societal problems, sometimes because of breakdown of families, so many reasons, they have been committed some aberration. So if at that stage, if the view that was taken by everyone, be it the police, be it the prison, be it the judiciary, if everyone looked at them with a jaundiced eye, then they feel very alienated, and the possibility of them reoffending is extremely high. And this was the first thing we told them, that we are there for you. We brought in police officials, we brought in the prison officials, we brought in the judiciary, the high court judges and others to see, so that we could tell them when they were being released that all these people are here just to help you, to put this behind you and to move forward positively. I think this kind of an exercise is important, that there is a coordination between the prison, the police and the judiciary. It's easier said than done, but we have toiled at it, and we have, I would say, got extremely good success, and we have been able to work with them. We have trained magistrates in the Judicial Academy, bringing them into an understanding of more use of the Probation of Offenders Act. Mr. Raghavan spoke about that. And above all, employing the same yardstick, appraising them of what routine remand does to a human being and his family. and particularly at a young age. I think all of these efforts together have been quite effective, and though a lot more can be done, but some amount of effort has produced some amount of results, and our programs, both Pattam and Paravai, have been well appreciated. The government has taken on the role of helping with the Paravai, the police program. And then we also did a similar exercise with the juveniles. We call the Padai program, where the same kind of a buddy system for these youngsters who spent very little time inside the prison, but who were let free outside the prison without support, without proper understanding, sometimes, or not, I would say in many cases, completely rejected, not only by the system, but by their own families. The lack of understanding of a juvenile and the working of the mind of a juvenile has been a very major problem. But we are so happy to say that the Juvenile Justice Board in Tamil Nadu has been, in Chennai and in other places, has been functioning outstandingly and have been so clear about the needs of these youngsters and so keen to see that under no circumstances they would come into the main system, criminal system, by coming into the prisons. And I think this understanding has also helped a lot in preventing inflow into the prison from those who re-offended after being through the system in the juvenile area. And I think that the lack of records and other things which make it easier for a person from the juvenile system to slip into the other system and not be recognized as a person who has offended already at a young age. There are some things which require to be sorted out, but by and large, we have found that there is an enormous amount of understanding of what the system is, and all our efforts have been completely based on psychology. The buddy system by which a person who comes out of the juvenile home is also tracked for between 6 to 12 months by trained social workers with postgraduate qualifications and experience, who visit the parents, who visit families, who visit the boys, who keep in touch on the phone, just to make sure that they understand that somebody is following through and is really interested in their well-being. So I think there is a necessity for a lot more of empathy to come into the system. This is something which we have been focusing on. It's not often talked upon, but it's an area where we feel gives almost magical results when you deal with juveniles and young offenders. And our experience, I must say, is limited to that. And as a civil lawyer, I don't have too much of experience on the criminal side in courts, but I see that these things have had a huge amount of impact. The other areas is that once the prison system starts viewing these people as people in need, people who need help, people whom they understand, as people whom they want to see down the line as productive citizens, then their response is completely different. And I think when we are looking at this, one of the areas we found very effective in the Saidapet sub-jail pre-COVID, we had a system where the inmates were allowed to physically meet the families under controlled circumstances, rather than talking across the wall or crossing the screen or across this and across that, or shouting over somebody else. Now many of the systems have been streamlined by the prison department here, but this is an area which still requires some attention, as this had a huge therapeutic value. We have seen it with our own eyes. This is where the boys realized that all the friends who had led them where they were not there when they were needed. And the only people who turned up were the parents, be it the mother or the father, and who came to help them at that stage. In some cases, they came and told us that we don't want this boy, he has been more of a problem, and we don't want to have anything to do with him. Please let him be here as much as you want. But working with our psychologists and our counselors, we managed to get them to understand what that really meant, whether that is really what they wanted, or whether they would work with us to make sure that this boy had a future and that they had a son. And in most cases, it works. I think a lot of personalized effort has to go into this, and funds are always a problem, and we always struggle with the number of people. But I think the more number of people, and I was happy to see some of these suggestions that you need social workers who should be there and who are also part of the whole system. Psychologist appointments are already there in Tamil Nadu. I think all of them, but they are basically overwhelmed by the amount of work they have. They need plenty of support. There was a mention by Mr. Raghavan about the PLVs being used. And I must say that several years ago, about 6 years ago, we started a program for training convict prisoners as PLVs to be barefoot counselors inside the prison. And during the time of COVID, they did wonderful work because we had to withdraw all our people from inside the prison because we did not want to carry any kind of contagion. So we were outside, these people were inside, and when they went subsequently out on parole, they established small support centers in some places in their villages. Mr. Shanmugha Sundaram is there, he would know personally of many of them. It was so amazing. And there was so much of, when they were trained as PLVs to be counselors, initially there was a little unhappiness with the psychologists and counselors in the prison system who felt that we were kind of treading on their toes, as it were. But slowly they realized that the amount of support that these people were able to give them by doing the routine work, talking to them, most often than not, people were in depression when they come and they are brought in. These people were able to spend time for them 24/7, which no psychologist or counselor in the prison could do. And they were able to report to them cases which had suicidal tendencies, cases where there was an extreme need outside. So many things they were able to do. And above all, we gave them a waistcoat, and I think that has given them a symbol of belonging, and they feel, we have received so many requests saying, please give us at least a second waistcoat which you can wash and wear because we never take this off. And that has given them a sense of belonging, that has given them a sense of authority, that has given him a sense of wanting to do more for the people not only around him, ultimately when released to society. So he regains some of the self-respect which necessary incarceration necessarily diminishes or destroys. So this was something which is already being done in Tamil Nadu, and we had an extended period of training for them, and now they are working as PLVs paid by the Legal Services Department. We have been working very closely with the Legal Services Department and the State Legal Services Department, Legal Services Authority, and they have been extremely helpful in bringing about things. And I heard Mr. Raghavan talk about, we've already mooted a proposal for these people who have been highly trained and highly experienced. When they go out of the prison, when they are on premature release or on completion of sentence, or if their sentence is overturned, we said that these are assets which are so valuable that they should not be allowed to go to waste, and that we should employ them for building. There was a talk about a building between the bridge between the legal services and the prison. I think this stretches far beyond that, and I am sure that if that proposal is accepted, there are some difficulties, but I think eventually we will have it done. Then there would be a huge amount of resources available to the prison department to coordinate with, and who will be always grateful for the fact that they were given some kind of authority and some kind of recognition while they were in prison. So I think one of the things, another most important thing for these youngsters was the segregation. We have ensured that in every central prison there is a separate block for these young first-time petty offenders. And that has also helped, and the department, in spite of their constraints of accommodation, have been very, very cooperative in ensuring that the complete places are kept separate, blocks are kept separate, so that they do not interact with the others inside the prison. So this, I think, is another major factor which is very useful and essential. I think the Supreme Court has said it, I think the prison manuals talk about it, but by and large, in most places, it is not done. And I think that more pressure has to be used to make sure that these are all essential things. These are not optional. Should we or should we not? That question doesn't arise in these situations. Then the other thing that we would like to look at is, I've already dealt with long-term convicts, and then one of the suggestions would be to see, there was a talk about working with NGOs. I think NGOs would be the ideal persons who can coordinate along with the prison department, so that all the three limbs, the prison, the police and the judiciary, work together with a reformative model in mind. Very often, even the judiciary get into the mindset of retributive justice, forgetting that those days are long gone, and things have moved on. Supreme Court has moved on, but still many of them still believe that punishment is the only thing that should be done. But slowly that is also changing, and if we have proper coordination and some effort to make sure that these three different organizations come together, as we have been able to do in Tamil Nadu on each of these programs, we find that the results are extremely effective. And I think that that is a model which has not been tried anywhere in the country as far as I know, but we have found that it's working quite well in a very simplistic way. And I think more of this needs to be done, and more official sanction has to be given. All this is being done with some efforts from our side. And having been part of the judicial system myself, I've been able to bring the judiciary in to some extent, but we see more and more interest in the judiciary also to see how to minimize this problem, how to give these guys another opportunity. And I think I've spent more than my 5 minutes, so I don't want to take more time. I have a few more things, maybe we could look at it at some other time, but quickly, I would just like to thank everyone, and I hope that the suggestions given here would be ultimately implemented. Thank you.
The problem of overcrowding is the result of actually a consequence of series of dereliction of duty by different agencies, police, judiciary, including civil society. All these agencies, including society, has to fundamentally share two fundamental beliefs. One, the cardinal principle of presumption of innocence of every accused until proved otherwise. This is one fundamental principle. The second fundamental principle is that every pre-trial detention must be a temporary and as a last resort measure with a series of reasons, only 3 reasons. That is, if under trial is escaping from the judicial process, tampering with the evidence, and actually threatening the witnesses. Other than these 3 reasons, nobody should be sent to prison or retained prison. If we share these 3 fundamental beliefs, then all of us can actually find solutions. Now, if we don't share these belief systems, the result will definitely be overcrowding. But unfortunately, the solutions that came up are very uninspiring. Recently, Supreme Court said sent 2 years back to all the state governments. Please come up with a plan of constructing prisons for the coming 50 years, depending upon trends of the overcrowding. I should appreciate our Honorable President Draupadi Murmu, who said this cannot be considered as a progressive measure. Let us suppose that tomorrow we build all the prisons 3 times. Will everything that is happening now will be all right? So, structural solution is not a solution at all. Legal solution is necessary. Legal solution is that if he is innocent, he should not be in the prison. Right now here, since prison officers are here, what is that we can do? Actually, you are also at the receiving end of the entire problem created by the judiciary and police and everybody. But still, we have our share of responsibility to address this problem. The first suggestion I want to give is the prison management information system will not work automatically. Just because data is there, it is not going to work. No judicial officer is going to look into the data and think that this boy, this girl is supposed to be there only for 60 days in the prison, because the charge sheet is not filed. Therefore, he is automatically eligible for default bail. This girl should not be here because she has completed 90 days, because charge sheet is not filed. I think prison department has a legal responsibility to identify all those cases once in a week and issue the public statement. I am consciously saying, if an accused is offender or accused is arrested, how much publicity the police department is doing? When police department or judiciary is not performing their duty, why prison department, which is a privy to the data, is not publicly embracing those who are actually not performing their duty? 1 second, I will come to that. I know the constraints within which you are working, I know, because you are the last in the entire department. Okay. Now, in countries like Britain, on last Friday of every month, they issue the data. How many prisoners are inside? How many murders have taken place? What is the criminal health of the society? The media in countries like Britain are making an issue. Why only once in a month? We are issuing the data after 18 months. It should be released. About economic index, we are releasing every week. Why not about criminal health of the country every week? So, if not press, of course, you work under the department's control, therefore you may not be able to do it. At least please send this data repeatedly as a matter of routine to the concerned judicial officer. This boy, this girl has completed 90 days. Their lawyers are not contacting. Default bail period is the only legal solution. 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. Why should say anybody be in the prison for 6 months or 1 year if they are eligible for default bail? Because judicial officers believe even if you give a bail, they should not come out. Everybody knows about it. So, if you want to really reduce the overcrowding, this data should be routinely sent to DLSA and also to the concerned officer. It's only basically, I know that judicial officers are not sending the orders, but you have the date of arrest, you have the date of remand, you have the nature of the crime involved in, you also have the how many days, after how many days he is eligible for default bail. I think strengthening the capacity of prison officers, legal capacity of the prison officers to read the data legally who is eligible, absolutely eligible for this, is something that is necessary. This is first suggestion. The second suggestion, going by the nature of the prison, the prisoner is completely cut off from the lawyers, his families, his friends. Once we agree, all of them are under trial prisoners, 75 to 91%. It is our bounden duty to create as much family connections, friends connections as possible, except to those highly organized criminals. For all other people, organized criminals in any way, from prison they do a lot of things. They are minuscule. They cannot be the measurement for treating all the other prisoners. But even most innocent prisoner is also not it's not easy for him to access his lawyer, at least his family, even when there is a phone facility. Why this connecting prisoner with NGOs, with families, with friends is very, very important, because that is the only solution for them to strengthen their hands to deal with their irresponsible lawyers, irresponsible judiciary, irresponsible LADCs. No one else will fight their battle. If you stop them from communicating, their families and lawyers, if you stop them from communicating with their LADCs, in the name of lack of escort, if you do this, I think since 1979, 51% of overcrowding now has become how much? This will continue to happen. So our bit let us do, every one of us have. The third thing, which is a challenge for prison officers, the financial assistance scheme. Central government has declared, concerned prison officer is the convener of this. And when prison officers, we are trying to do some experiment in Telangana. Telangana prison department is very forthcoming to do this experiment. When prison officers are actually as conveners of this empowered committee, are writing to district judges to come to sanction the money for the poor prisoners. District judges, district magistrates are not listening. They are not willing to come, because in the hierarchy, it's a protocol department, we know, sir. When you proactively go to a judge, how they treat you also we know. But there is a need for raising the morale of the prison officers and say that we are trying to do our bit. We are not doing anything illegal. You have to do your duty. You do it or don't do it, it's up to you. But it is our duty to bring to your attention. So this is most important. And see, in 2023, central government sanctioned 20 crores. Actually, flip side of this financial assistance scheme is this. That is permanently institutionalizing surety, financial surety as a mode of bail. Why judiciary cannot give it to personal bond? Why can't government instruct their own public prosecutors not to insist on local surety? Instead of doing that, central government said financial surety. I know the limitations of financial surety. This 20 crores, no state has used it for the past 2 years. In the last budget, central government reduced it to 5 crores. Now, no other state, actually, Supreme Court has issued a reprimanding notice to West Bengal government. They have not released even a single prisoner under financial surety, because we publicly perform some duty, privately believe something else. LADCs believe that these are all waste of time. Judicial officers think that we don't want, we give the bail, but still he should not come. Now we have given a list of prisoners who have been languishing because of lack of money. If prisoner is not coming out of prison, legally eligible but economically, financially ineligible, it is actually criminalizing the poverty. We are punishing him not because his guilt is proved, but because his poverty is proved. How to overcome this? Fortunately, because of President Draupadi Murmu's suggestion, the financial assistance scheme has come up, but judicial officers and even empowered committees are not taking proactive role in this. At least we have made some effort in Telangana, and present government is really proactively trying to do something. With of course, everything has to start with somewhere. Therefore, this is one suggestion. Otherwise, all these suggestions are on the basis of this fundamental presumption. We don't want overcrowding. But I've come across very few people who really in practice think that they don't want overcrowding, especially people who are working in the system. Prison officers do think that overcrowding is not necessary because it's a huge headache, because it takes away all your time from really addressing the real issues of reformation of convict prisoners. So for that reason, at least we need to address the problems of under trial prisoners, and I think we'll have more time to talk about other things. I'll talk those things later. Thank you.
Send to the data to the concerned courts, but the result of the data is zero, sir. Mainly we send all the data with the AS not getting bail after the due date, and we will regularly send in the PDL to the each month. But some of the PDJs is interested, they will issue the direction to the concerned magistrates, and once you give bail, then if he is not released on bail, then you will change the conditions also. But that some cases it is a very serious offences that need some essential things to close. You speed up the trial immediately. Because of that type of action, some districts released some prisoners. But negatively, most of the judges is not interested in the UTRC committee, and they will not follow up anything, sir. This is the practical and ground level situation.
Just 1 second, sir. I'm glad that IJR actually suggested a series of consultations, even with the judiciary also. I think this is a point for discussion in the next meeting, whenever. But at the end of it, we also need to have all the wings together. We should have it, because otherwise, what we talk we may not reach to the judiciary. What judiciary talks may not reach us. So I think that will bring a lot of issues together. Thank you.
Yes. So with that spirit, we will have a national consultation, and we will hope to invite all of you to be there so we can all come together. Now, thank you very much, Murli, for those interventions and talking about some innovative practices. The UK one in particular, because yes, for a very long time, a lot of my writing has also been about why are the prison departments forced to keep more than their capacity in their prison. I know it's a warrant. I know the court sends it in a warrant and they come, but there has to be some way of, strengthening the prison officials, the mandates of the prison officials, so that if you don't have space in your prison, you can refuse. We will not allow a single person more than our capacity, should be how it should be. It is on the judge to see where they want to send, because you are the custodian, but they are the ones sending them. So there needs to be something where we do strengthen, and as I think what Murli has said is a really good idea, is you can regularly post. So if you regularly keep talking about something, then people will definitely, it keeps coming to the eye. Basically, it's, today anyways, we live in times where...
Even convicts are also not necessarily immediately sent to prison in other countries.
Yes. They have suspended sentences also. So a lot of countries have this provision where they do suspended sentences. If there is no space in the prison, you actually get a suspended sentence. So the sentence is suspended till you can actually have that space, or you do something else. So there are different sentencing provisions that are there. But the whole idea should be to not keep people in prisons which are so severely overcrowded. So I was checking some of the Tihar jails are 500% occupancy rates. So just imagine how difficult it must be. Nonetheless, we're going to move around quickly to all the officers here. Yes, so we will, I just second to the officers here. And then after that, I would want is, we've talked a lot about solutions, practices, worked, not worked, challenges also. Then I want to have like, leave half an hour so all of us can come together and discuss what are the low hanging fruits. So where is it we feel as prison administrators, what do we think could be an innovative practice emerging from your states or from elsewhere, like the UK example, but just on that. So you can, Sherry, please give it to sir. And Maya has requested that whoever speaks may please also introduce themselves briefly on who they are.
Good afternoon, sir. In Andhra Pradesh, sir, DLS is working well, sir, and LDC is working well, sir. Poor prisoners scheme is working, sir. Like that, first of all, granted bail with 2 sureties. After apply, reduce it to 1 surety. After another time applies to reduce the amount also. At that stage, so many prisoners are released.
Judiciary also have to get the socio-economic status of the concerned prisoner. So it includes other agencies too, other than the prison and judiciary, police and revenue officers are involved. But for them, the releasing of a prisoner is not important work for them. So they'll not show much importance or not much interest in that. So it should be the user-friendly thing. And of course, the infrastructure also makes a difference, sir. So construction of new prisons or additional barracks like that. To reduce the overcrowding issue, infrastructure also makes a difference. Thank you.
So just to comment on what you had mentioned, sir, Professor Raghavan. One, in terms of this entire data, from what I see of the discussion, though the suggestions are really good, the onus is again coming back to the prison superintendents and the prison administration. And we already know that with existing situation with overcrowding and understaffed, to expect the prison department to maintain this at a preliminary level, I think is adding to that burden. So what I would like to suggest is, if NALSA and the State Legal Services Authority, or at the district level, if there could be a network created with the prisons department and the Legal Services Authority, where the primary responsibility of this data, because the main source of this data also comes from the judiciary. So if the judiciary is given the responsibility of maintaining this, and it is attested by the prisons department, and there can be data that is published across the board from every court-wise and at the prison level, that will give a better outcome in terms of which are the courts where we find, because very typically there are specific courts that refuse to give bail. At a practical level, specific courts refuse to give bail, right? And we are at a loss to be able to say, of course we know the reasons, but we are at a loss to be able to bring it out as public data. But if it can be a coordinated effort, and the primary onus should not be on the prisons department. The primary onus, considering that that particular prisoner is in judicial custody, it lies with the judiciary, right? But if it can be made, a common responsibility, with the onus being placed with the legal services, because so far legal services authorities, the way it is looked at is, okay, poor prisoners, we provide legal defense, we provide minimal, financial support, whatever it is. But there needs to be a more proactive role for the legal services to say that they are responsible for answering to the question of overcrowding, considering that they come from the judiciary. So a very robust system, an MIS that can be shared, but with the primary responsibility on the legal services, I think would be a good way to begin.
Thank you very much. One small intervention in terms of, we've been talking about the data, and so the existing SOP on the UTRC, it places the onus on the DLSA to do the categorization. The only duty that lies upon the prison officers is to send them the data. That also, ideally, they under the e-prisons legal aid connect that is part of e-prisons 2.0. Under that as well, all the DLSAs are supposed to have access to e-prisons in their states. They have all been given login and IDs. And when I say they have been given, they've been given, they don't use it as a different thing, but the onus is not on the prison department. So if the DLSA is coming to the prison and saying, Superintendent, you send me the selected or eligible prisoners, that is not your mandate. The mandate is with the DLSA. The DLSA, with help from the Prison Legal Aid Clinic, the PLVs, as well as from the LADC, the chief LADC, they are supposed to be doing that categorization. All the data that is required for the UTRC is supposed to be, it is data that is available in the e-prisons, and whatever data is not available, that is available, can be available at the district judge level, because now the district judge is the chairperson of the DLSA. But at the level of the prison, they do not have the responsibility, and I would encourage that none of you should bear that responsibility, because as ma'am said, you have 10 other things to do in the administration. So that's something where I think that linkage has to be kind of clarified in terms of where is the role of the superintendent ending and where is the role of the DLSA beginning here, because that seems to be, it came up, I think a lot of you talked about it. So that's one thing I wanted to, and I think ma'am wants to say one more thing.
So one other suggestion in terms of the quality of the lawyers who come on board with the legal services. We are talking about maintaining this data, but from our observations, right, when legal services authority lawyers come into the prison, they are absolutely ill-equipped. They may have passed out of law colleges, but the fact is they are absolutely ill-equipped to segregate cases, to really be able to look at the technicalities of that particular section that apply to the prisoners, right? And there is a need to equip, because usually what they come is, and then we find prison officers being at a loss, because on one side the prison officers out of sheer experience are able to say, hey, this particular section, this is not how it works, which is not their job in the first place. And when the legal services authority lawyers come in, they come in with a survey form, right? And they take it as a primary responsibility to just fill in that form, irrespective of whether that information is right or no. And many a times, it is not correct information. We've seen it repeatedly. They have access, but they really don't know how to be able to get the relevant data that will make a difference to the situation of overcrowding. So there is a need also for a very specific prison level training for people who are a part of the legal services, and not to assume that just because they have studied law or have, let's say, a minimal experience of being on the panel, that they are able to do this job. Frankly, at the ground level, they are not able to do it.
Thank you for pointing this out, ma'am.
Yeah, actually from the morning we are discussing a very comprehensive kind of solutions for a very complex situation. Prisons are not only with the under trials, we are having both under trials and convicts. We need to focus more on convicts reformations also. But the population wise, under trial population exceeds the convicts sometimes. But the jail where I had, Central Prison Kalburgi, we face 50-50 kind of percentage. I mean 200, we are having maybe around within 600 today. In that 300 would be the ratio. What I am working there since 1 year, what I see, there is well-functioning legal aid clinic, there is well-functioning PLVs, there is well-functioning LADCs, UTRCs meetings are regularly conducted, as well as we have this empowered committee and also oversight committee at the state level, where the amount exceeding the empowered committee, we send the proposals to state level. Everything is functioning well, and also e-prisons, like how it was addressed in the morning, and now it is connected everywhere. But ultimately, we have to provide the statistics for the UTRCs. That is not a big thing, but still, we need to give the statistics to the empowered, UTRC meetings. That is also happening. And one more thing, exactly what I meant to say. Recently, we are having more issues on the security and safety aspects of the prisons also, that also to be noticed or looked upon more into. And once what happens, if I have a prisoner where bail is granted to her, because her son is also in the jail, she is not willing to go on bail. That is like a specific person example I could say. In that case, we tried, and even DLS also tried to relax her surety conditions, but she is not willing to go out of the jail. That is a kind of one example. And we have another 2-3 prisoners where his bail is granted, but for the want of sureties, they are not being released. So this is a little contradictory. Where person is not willing to go out of the jail, and who is willing to go out of the jail, is bail relaxations are not happening. So this also might amount to the little extended stay in the prisons. And one more thing, like we have a system where remand case is bailed out and body warrants are remaining, we will release the prisoners. We don't retain the prisoners for the want of body warrants. That is actually giving us more result in reducing the population. Especially Kalburgi jail is concerned. We used to house 1,200 to 1,300 prisoners 3 to 4 years ago. Now we have come within 600. So I think major factor in reduction of under trial population is this. Like recently, even in the Deti News case, we had a Gunda prisoner. He had around 12 cases body warrants pending. Once his Gunda term was completed, we released the prisoner. So this is the major factor helping reduction in the under trial population. And also, like one thing I would like to mention, VC, the video conferencing production to courts, which is happening really well. And in that, we get to know what is the court pronouncing that day. Like he's getting bailed out. It is not 100% for sure, but we will come to know few statistics. We work on that, and we in turn get back to the courts, and we would like to help the prisoner whatever is possible from these situations also. Like we have our staff producing the prisoner to the court, where we will get daily orders, and anything in specific to be taken to courts, we are doing that. And also these physical productions, which we like Bombay High Court's thing I was hearing, every 3 VC production, there needs to be a physical production. I think this also is very much important, what I thought listening from the morning. So basically, we are still finding ways to reduce the under trial population, as well as in this rush, we are little, I feel, lagging behind reformative activities for the convicts, what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Also for everyone, could you explain what body warrant is?
See, remand warrant is where he comes in a remand, that is the first case, to jail. After he enters with the remand warrant, the subsequent warrants, whatever he gets to, is a body warrant. It cannot be 2 remand warrants for a person. Once he is in the jail, remanded to judicial custody, he cannot be remanded back again to judicial custody. So whatever is the warrant he is getting, that is treated as a body warrant, or it is just a production warrant, or it is a notice that he has got this case, you have to produce him in that case also. So that is a kind of, that is 267 CRPC. So it is a warrant that it only warrants us to produce him and not to detain him once his remand case is released on bail or acquitted or whatever.
In High Court of Karnataka, we got this order. So once he got bailed or acquitted in the remand case, he'll be released in other all pending cases. That is PT warrant thing was there, but we that practice was not there in Karnataka, but
told you treat it as a body warrant, we treat it as a PT warrant, production warrant.
Yes.
Production warrant.
Yes.
Some states
yes.
they are treating like that. Yes.
Yes.
Both are same. Both are same. But we cannot detain a person, so detain a body warrant or PT warrant. But once the body warrant produced, the president produced body warrant and before the court, it will be converted into original warrant. Maybe converted, maybe or may not. Maybe or may not. Maybe or
yes.
may not.
Okay,
but
if I may.
The prisoner can have so many warrants.
If I may intervene, we will. Yes, it varies from state to state. But I'm happy that it got everybody talking. So that's a good thing. We'll take that is what we, yes. So I'm going to move over to Dr. Raghavan, and then I will be calling upon Mr. Dayanand to start talking about the low-hanging fruits. So the next 20 minutes I want to talk about, after Dr. Raghavan's spoken and Cecilia here, then we will talk about a little bit on the low-hanging fruits that we all view specific to prison, a little bit more focus on prison administrators. So over to you, Dr. Raghavan, and then I want everybody to start thinking about the low-hanging fruits.
In the districts where we are working, we have really tried to improve that coordination between prison authorities and the DLSA, and it has made a difference in terms of the quality of work. We recently organized a training for LADC lawyers of 3 districts, and we found the response of the LADCs to be quite encouraging in terms of their even their thirst, and that they wanted to learn and take steps forward into the field. That is my first suggestion. My second point is with regard to the support for poor prisoners scheme. I think that there is a need to involve civil society organizations, or if possible, probation officer or even paralegal volunteers, community paralegals, to see if they can play the role of the due diligence part, which is bottlenecks when cases come up before the collector. We have found the collector asking questions about why this person should be given the benefit of the scheme. And our experience of having completed social investigation reports in each of the cases that were referred to us by the DLSA has really helped in convincing the authorities concerned that this case should be considered for release under the cash bail scheme. So, and the recent guidelines that have come out through the Supreme Court order, I can share that recent guidelines that have come out. It has come out a couple of days back. The MHA has come out with revised guidelines in which they have clearly outlined the involvement of CSOs or social workers or paralegals in the due diligence part of to improve support to poor prisoner scheme. I can share the revised guidelines. I'm sure you would have also got it, but in case you have not got it, I'll share it with the organizers and they can in turn share it with the participants. My last point is about the usefulness, importance of having social workers in the prison system along the lines of what is existing in Tamil Nadu and to some extent in Maharashtra where I'm based. I have also submitted a proposal for this to DG Prisons Telangana, Soumya Mishra Madam, and she has been quite positive about it, and probably, hopefully, something in that direction will move forward. So this is also an idea which I suggest that states in the south, which are far more progressive than states in the north, can really take up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raghavan. Yeah.
Documents for this, if any state government is interested in.
Yeah. All right. Quickly to Cecilia, and then we'll move over to Dayanand sir, and then Maya.
Just a quick addition to, with respect to convicts. I mean, I do not have perfect data to back this up, but one of the trends that we have noticed, particularly in the central prisons in Karnataka, a lot of cases where, especially that came up during COVID time, are now coming back into the prison being convicted, which means not just under trials, we're going to have an increasing number of convicts as well. And in terms of overcrowding, if we are able to suggest a good network and a rehabilitation policy, network with probation officers, Karnataka, unfortunately as a state, does not have a probation system for adults. We do have under the Department of Women and Child Welfare, we do have it for children and juveniles, but we do not have probation officers for adults. But if we are able to look at the existing convict population, especially those serving very long-term convictions like 30 years, 20 years, because having been in the prison that long, many a times trouble brews from there, and we are all quite aware of it. But if we are able to deal with also reducing convict population by having probation officers where they can be released. I understand they have to serve mandatory court sentences, but if we could bring it to the notice of the court to place them under probation officers, release them, place them under probation officers for the remaining time. Let's say they serve 14, 15, whatever number of years feasible, and the remaining time is spent under the supervision of a probation officer. I think it will work very effectively in reducing the burden on the prison system, because increasing number of convicts is going to create more trouble overall. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Cecilia, can I just come in for half a minute?
Very quickly, sir.
Just half a second. Yeah, just to say that probation officers do exist in Karnataka for adult offenders. It is just that because it has been taken over under the Department of Women and Child Development, they are not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. So they do exist. In fact, in the recent conference, there were probation officers who were nominated by the department to come and attend. And it is not correct to say that they don't exist, but they're not being used for the purpose for which they are.
Okay, I will leave this to both of you to discuss later. Okay, can I now call upon Mr. Dayanand to come in with his comments on some low-hanging fruits that he may feel we should be looking at. You've been we've talked about a lot of things, so let's talk about what could work.
No, I have nothing much to add, but a lot of things to learn based on the deliberations, whatever have taken place in the last 1.5 to 2 hours. The role of prison officials has been quite well delineated in these discussions, and all these things involve a lot of procedural aspects which our prison officials have to be, number one, well versed with, and second thing is to work on those things with the concerned departments, especially the judiciary, the legal services authority, and other things. The issue of NGOs and the social workers to be associated with the prison department needs to be looked into in a very positive spirit. Many times there are a lot of misgivings about this one, and probably we need to take it forward with a lot of positivity in that one. And some of the best practices, what have been told by Ms. Vijay Raghavan and others, they are quite encouraging. Probably the other states can also have a look at it and try to implement them, mainly from the point of low-hanging fruits. So low-hanging fruits would be the ones which we from the prison department or the prison department officials can take up and work out on that one. Otherwise, many things, if we start depending on the other departments, or if we start waiting for things to happen, it will not happen. And probably in this regard, whatever best practices are there, if they are listed out and given to us, we can one by one look at it and try to implement whatever suits our states. So all the prison officials, please take note of these things, and when you go back, try at least one measure which can work in your prison or in your state, and see what happens, and then you can again come back to us or come back to the India Justice report or to APCA, so we can examine it and see the feedback, and then try to implement in other places also. So overall, it has been quite an encouraging and very insightful discussions which have taken place, not merely an academic exercise, but also very practical suggestions have been given, and I thank all the resource persons who have participated in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So over to you, Maya. Your favorite topic is identifying low-hanging fruits for everyone to work on. And as sir said, I'm glad that even if everybody goes back and tries one, we'll probably have something will change. So over to you, Maya.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm really a votary of low-hanging fruit, but it does sound like what is possible in the short term, what could be something, anything that makes a difference. One of the things, and I hope that we will discuss this more tomorrow and in the afternoon, is data, in terms of getting the data regularly, routinely out in the way that Professor Muralikarnam described, with the content and the responsibilities clearly understood, and clearly pointed out that if you are not doing your job, then the next person cannot do theirs. I think that's pretty common sense. Then the other one was, I've heard all of you say that you work in silos and coordination or some kind of opportunity to collaborate. This again is common sense, but the reason why it doesn't happen is because everybody is so overworked and so short staffed. So we would then have to go to another level of whether there is enough money to employ more people, how do you train those people, how do you put them in position. So everything has got a knock-on effect, and I do realize that. So, but I still say that with whatever one has, every one of you has spoken about coordination. And technology provides the means to give coordination. So my next question would be, in this conference, the two questions are, if we know all this and we are duty bound to do all this under our own responsibilities, then one question is to analyze why it is not happening. We know it is not happening, but why is it not happening? That's one thing that I would like you to just note down and say, well, if it is not happening for these reasons, how do we repair that? I think I like the idea of a clear policy on NGO participation. It really cannot be because some superintendent of prison wants, likes NGOs, doesn't like NGOs, has an agenda, doesn't have an agenda, and every now and then what was being done can be shut off like a small tap because somebody has annoyed somebody else. I think we need a clear policy that is based on rights. Whose rights? The prisoner's rights, the responsibility of the state and all its actors, as well as a clear understanding that state uh, state capacity and what the state can be expected to do is always at the forefront and is not unreasonable, but it must be weighted, strongly weighted by the three principles, the two principles that Justice Murli Karnam and I certainly would adopt when I'm thinking of access to justice. Is this a low-hanging fruit? It is not a low-hanging fruit, but it is a central provision under which a rule of law country functions. So, and again we see it as being subject to and a handmaiden of people who are substituting their own personal value for the constitutional value or the constitutional principles that should be in place when making decisions of this sort. So the last thing that I would say that would be of great value to the prison administration was if it could show demonstrate through data, and this can be a joint collaboration between civil society that has the space and the motivation to document data, to show and demonstrate that one single intervention, however small, actually went to preventing recidivism or to to reducing the number of under trials, or to showing that a pathway to rehabilitation does actually work. Everything done in one state or in one prison cannot at the moment be multiplied or applied to another situation. We recognize this. The difference between North and South is very clear and has been shown again and again by the IJR. But collaborations and coordinations between the southern states in terms of exchange of information can be a pathway to demonstrating something changed for the better because we did X, Y, and Z. So I think that definitely could be one pathway to showing that something within this neglected area of prisons, both neglected prison administrations and neglected prisoners, can change. I think would be a great way to go, and perhaps that could be a suggestion that comes out over the last day. I'm just putting all this forward as a person who is a lawyer and who has been working on this for a long time, but does not have your day-to-day experience to inform my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya, for those, for summing up a lot of the conversations we've had over today. Anybody else wants to come up with a low-hanging fruit?
I'm Jay Suraja, already I told. Actually, I was telling that about the overcrowding. Also, as Cecilia was telling, that convicts also there. Because there are a lot of people there without anybody, because even if they are going out also, they will not be accepted by the society and other things. 20 years, 21 years, like that. So that actually in Tamil Nadu, with the cooperation of the prison department, because the probation officers, they have to give, somebody will be accepting them. So for that, as a prison ministry, we have a home for those who are coming out of the prison. We accept them as a halfway home. It is not a permanent hostel or anything like that. We found out, because after that coming out, we take them, we go to their families and make them accept. So many, it is not an easy job, I say within one word, but it takes a long time. So many, repeatedly we go to the, which is the relative, they say no, will not accept. First time, second time, third time. So we go to them like that, we are making them understand. We give a letter to the prison department, getting the letter from the concerned person, and we get them, and we are having them. Recently also from North Uttar Pradesh, Bansar, there is a prisoner after 20 years, nobody to accept. Now we are having, he knows only Hindi, I don't know Hindi, but we are talking, that father is. Why I am saying is, the convict prisons in Tamil Nadu, we are doing this. If others also, if there is any person, we are ready to take up. Because of the short stay home, we will identify the family. If there is nobody also, we will train them in the what is the trade and other things. We are ready to provide job. There was a prison from Orissa, there was a prisoner. We sent them back with the family. He came like that. So we are happy that in that also we are ready to collaborate, and we are doing that. So convict also, there is a problem. That's what. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. So the solutions should also cover convicts. Yes, Murli.
While all the departments think about solutions, we think from the point of view of only crime, not from the point of view of the person, the prisoner. One or two things I tell you. A convict who has money in his account, cannot use his own money to pay the fine and go out of the prison. One, at least I am telling you, he was there in the prison for 5 years, and he got the bail from High Court. He has to pay 40,000. The earnings from his own labor, he cannot give it to someone else, to get him out of the prison. One second, sir. Who he has to give it to? He doesn't have anybody. He cannot give it to another prisoner. Then he has to go somewhere out. No, prison officers tell me this. We can't give it because. No, there is this problem, sir. In Telangana, there is this problem. Okay. He has the money, but he is not able to come out. I'm saying this only to point out we are dealing with the most vulnerable section of the people. I have 6 lawyers and 2 social workers. If both of them don't cooperate for 1 day, the prisoner remains for 10 more days in the prison after getting bail. If prison officer says it's not my duty, I think we are not going to solve any problems. My own staff, I am telling, I completely agree with you, sir. The woman prisoner says that, no, I am from Uttar Pradesh, I am a domestic help. If I come out, I don't know where to go, stay. Therefore, I prefer to remain in the prison because I have the bail, but I can't go. Then we have to tell them that not only we file the bail, we will also arrange a short stay home. Unless you say that, they will not come out. Now, you have to ask the family members, convince the family members to come and stand the surety. They will say, if we come travel for 1 day, we will lose our wage and therefore we can't travel. We don't have money to come. I think our solutions are not working because we are not fashioning solutions, keeping the problems of the prisoners in our attention. They have hundreds of problems. They can't even come 1 day to speak. But what we do, 19 bailable offences we made non-bailable offences. The new law. I think the problem is going to increase. This problem is going to increase. Gravity of the offence is the only criteria for rejecting all the bails. So we have to, I think we need to be much more innovative to think about how to, from the prisoner's point of view, to deal with the entire issue.
Thank you. So let's be more innovative over the next course of the next 1.5 days, or now 1 day, now that we are done with half. Okay, so I had one thing. I wanted to say something about, I don't remember where, I'm not sure if it was a Supreme Court directive. I think it was under the Re-Inhuman case, was where there was this conversation about how prison departments and the prison headquarters can have these monthly reviews of prisoner population. And they look at these individual prison-wise data and see where the overcrowding is the most. And then they devise some solution to reduce that burden of overcrowding. And that happens on a monthly basis. So basically the solutions could be, you could do inter-transfers. There's also this consideration these days about interstate transfers. And then also looking at applying different solutions to a problem. So suppose, for instance, since Sir is here, in Karnataka you have Kolar jail, which has 186% occupancy rate. So if a collective focused discussion with the prison department officials, the civil society, Cecilia is here, can be taken up where you apply those solutions. So we know what works. We know people are coming in. We know poor prisoner scheme, bail, UTRC is there, legal aid is there. We know parole, probation. A lot of these, we would call them as, these are all the, solutions. So how do you apply those solutions? You come together and you do it collectively for that particular prison. And you put your energy there, and then, as Maya said, you do that and you see what difference it makes. And if that makes a difference, then maybe the monthly reviews will be helpful. So in that monthly review, you also have, and again, of course, I think Murli's solution to, keep informing. So the prisons which are overcrowded above 150%, that information can regularly be shared after these review meetings on what is being done. It kind of will help to bring, of course, public attention, but also internally to address the issue of prison overcrowding on a regular basis. And not like, NCRB publishes data after 2 years, we look at that data, we say it was overcrowded, then we look at something. But a regular thing, which is more localized, more state-wise, something of a regular review is one thing that I thought is a low-hanging fruit. It can easily be done. One officer can always be appointed to do these review meetings on a monthly basis. And that kind of You will also be able to identify problems, and you might actually be able to produce a solution. Maybe the solution was easy, you had to talk to somebody, something changed, this wasn't happening, too many people were being sent, arrests were maybe, bails were not happening. Something would be found, some issue or some solution would be there. So that's one thing I wanted to leave the room with. And well, thank you everyone for joining us. Yes,
Madhurima?
yes, Maya.
Apologies. Can I put two things forward?
Yes.
As I said, my experience comes from a different lens, but I did want to ask two questions. I want to leave these two questions with the room because I myself am not clear about them. One is that a warrant to hold a person in prison, whether he's a convict or whether he's an under trial, is for a limited period. As soon as that limited period is over, what is the legal status of that person who is being detained in prison or incarceration when the rule is that liberty is paramount? That is the rule. Presumption of innocence, that is the rule. Even if we don't take that into account, the process is, here is my warrant, hold this person. That's from time immemorial. Once that warrant is over, what is the responsibility of the prison administration? Is he holding that person illegally? That would be my question. The second is lawyer's responsibility. A lawyer is appointed to a person, whether he's a legal aid lawyer, he's a private lawyer. He has a responsibility to his client, and he has a responsibility to uphold the law that is given by the court, by the judiciary, by the Supreme Court, and so on. He has a responsibility to his client. What is the consequences, money-wise or penal-wise or civil-wise, to a lawyer who does not convey to his client that he is at liberty, that he has been given bail and the bail is right now, this minute, and he does not convey it for 1 month, 3 days, 20 days, 40 days? How can we hold this person responsible? And who should hold him responsible? Should the magistrate who gave the order? Should the court at large? Should the administrative group under whom he comes, the Bar Association or NALSA or the DLSA or the SLSA, who holds this person accountable? Because we know that the power equation between the client and the lawyer is such that the client can never hold him responsible.
Okay, thank you, Maya. We will keep those, and well, if we find an answer, we will convey in the coming sessions. So with that note, I close this session. It has been very interactive, and thank you everyone